Slurpedy dab my G's. Hope you guys are doing great. So you can make a really, really nice dark vocal kind of pad in Serum really, really easily. And I'm going to just show you in about 5 minutes or less how to do it. And it sounds like this. So yeah, can be really great for some nice atmospheric intros, a bit of a vocal feeling. Could work well in sort of jungle or drum and bass, or different genres perhaps as well. But yeah, let's break it down. So basically, I've got all of the oscillators and the noise and the sub all being used. Okay, but we start off with oscillator A, and for all of these, I'm using the spectral mode in Serum. So click on this, drop down here, click spectral, and then under the factory in the Vox section, you've got loads of vocal harmonies that sound really, really nice. And basically the key is to stack a bunch of them up together to create like one rich kind of atmospheric pad, right? So the first one I'm using is the Oolong Bright Angels. And also what you can do is for all of these, it's good to put a loop going on so that you can hold down the vocal pad and it won't sort of ever stop, So down here on this drop down, it starts off at one shot, but if you select forward reverse loop, and then you can basically just put in a loop sort of anywhere where there's kind of content, right? And then set the scan rate to sort of how fast you want it to be. If you have the loop somewhere in the middle like here, it's basically going to just play from the beginning until it reaches the loop, and then it's going to start looping. I could move the loop over here, for example. But yeah, this is a really nice big file, so it's really slow, so it doesn't really actually even need to loop. But some of the other ones, they're a little bit shorter, so you have to sort of set up a loop so that it keeps going, I've put a high pass filter on all of these as well. So little high pass filter on this first one. This first one's set to -1. The high pass at 21%. The level's sort of 77%. All right, we can stack a sub bass underneath it already. So here's a sub at -2 on the sine wave here. That's at about 81%. All right, so the next is basically just like stacking it up now with different vocal kind of samples, right? So I've got the next spectral sound here, which is this one is the UO filtered. Okay, this has a bit more. It's a bit less airy and a bit kind of darker, but when you have them together, they really fill out like a different kind of part of the spectrum, and they have like a very different sound. But when they combined, it's really really nice. The level on this one, I've turned it down a bit. The octaves is the same. The octave range is the same, but I've just done a bit of fine tuning here. And I'm gonna have set up a loop with the forward reverse loop. The scan is a little bit slower here, 15%. The high pass filter is a little bit higher at 29%. You see how it kind of went to the end of the loop and came back again? You didn't really notice it, because it's all kind of quite similar, sound in the sample anyway, The voicing down here as well, I've got the mono and the legato on, and the glide, it's set to sort of 295 milliseconds. And it's scaled -40%. So yeah, basically, it kind of glides quite nice and slowly between the notes. I've also done some things on the envelope here. I've made the attack quite slow, 351. So it's nice and slow fade in at the start, and then the fade out as well, 820 milliseconds. So it's quite a long release. So you can kind of if I just turn my MIDI keyboard on so I can do it, right? So it's got quite a long tail, basically, There you go. Sounds quite nice an octave higher as well, right? But we're going to continue down at this low octave. And now we're adding the next one. So again, it's the spectral and then the Vox folder. This is the R Holy. And this, although it's the same octave range, it sounds like it's sort of higher up, you know? So again, it adds like a new flavor to the whole thing. And because it's sort of a bit brighter, I've turned it down a bit more to blend it in. So the level is a bit lower, 52%. And the high pass filter, I've taken it up a bit more to 37 here. Again, we got our loop set up and a bit of the scan is at 38. So that's just, you know, the speed at which it's going through the sample. And the fine tuning's at +7, so slightly detuning again from this one down here. But the chords, the pitches on them are already quite different anyway, you know, but I just do that anyway just for a little bit of extra detuning. Yeah, so it's really nice. And then I've done a little bit of noise. It's very subtle. I've used the Sim mic bleed noise. I quite like that one because it's quite soft. But yeah, only around 7% here. So you can barely notice it. You'll notice it a bit more when the distortion is on later. But yeah, it's quite low. Then all of these, you know, including the sub, all the oscillators and the noise, they all get run through the filters now, right? So they all go through filter 1, which is a notch filter, and it's set to 200 hertz. The driver's at 18%, and it's a notch 12 here. The mix is also not quite 100, but almost at 94. Resonance at 16. And there's just a tiny bit of movement, only about 4%, with a slow LFO that's sort of a triangle at 4 bars. So it just adds a tiny bit of notch movement. It's really, really subtle. But it kind of brings the pad to life a bit more, you know, especially using the drive on the filter here. Anyway, this runs through to filter 2, and this guy also has a tiny bit of movement going from 386 to 568. It's a really small amount of cutoff movement. Again, the drive about 17% here, and the mix not quite as high. Sort of balanced about 71%. So I have a bit of the character of this filter, which is if I see here, yeah, it's the flanges phase 24 plus, right? So again, it kind of beefs it all up a bit more, you know, especially because of the drive, and it drives the low end up a bit more and adds a slight bit of character in the mid-range here. And then finally, we have our effects. So I've just done the dimension at quite a high level, 50%, with the size right in the middle as well. Just makes it all a bit kind of wider and washes it out a little bit as well. Then I've done a high-low splitter with a distortion in the high end. This is quite subtle though. It's the tape saturation, which is quite a subtle distortion color. And yeah, the drive as well, it gets a bit of modulation on my LFO here. It goes from like 28% up to 54% or something like that. It's only distorting 1K and upwards as well. And it is very subtle. But it kind of just brings the high end to life just a little bit more. And you start to hear the noise a little bit more as well, the noise from over here, you know. At 7%, you can sort of just about hear it now. It almost adds like a slightly, yeah, like tape quality to the high end of the pad. That's kind of why I wanted it, you know, but I didn't want it too obvious either. Then there's the chorus, which has been used on the mix at 31%. Turned the low pass filter all the way up. Again, it's fairly subtle, but a bit of extra stereo. And then also the bowed mode, I've used that as well. 18%. The blur is up here at 54 and the range down at 8 and the shift at -21. And that adds like a slight kind of almost slight frequency shifter sound into, effect into the sound. But it's quite slow, because of the shift is kind of not turned down too far. It's very subtle though, because the mix is low, but it just adds a tiny bit of extra movement to it all. And then the equalizer, the equalizer, I've just done a bit of a mid-range dip around 314 and a boost of the high end, all sort of from 2K and upwards with a high shelf. And this is just a little mastering kind of tweak on the pad. Because remember, pads often have like loads of mid-range in, so it's good to control that. So a little bit of ducking around 314, and then just bringing up all the kind of air on the pad in the high end here. And that's the finished dark vocal pad, And obviously I've played in a little progression here, but obviously I could probably do something even more interesting, perhaps. Anyway, all kinds of melodies that you could use for that pad. But yeah, that's just how you can quickly make a nice dark vocal pad in Serum. And the key really is just sort of stacking up a number of different, different vox samples, different voxes, different voices, that all kind of add something slightly different. This first one, I really like. It's got this sort of, this nice bit of darkness, but this sort of airiness in the high end, And then this, that was the ooh long bright angels, and then the ooh filtered. It's got even more of an ominous, like lower kind of frequency darkness to it there. So, but it's quite different to the first one, And the third one, a bit more higher up, and it does sound a bit holy as well. That's probably a good description. A bit more of a holy vocal. And so they're all quite different though, And the key is just to mix them with the levels as well. Perhaps I could turn this one down a little bit. You could even pan them a little bit if you wanted to. I quite like them panned. I'm going to save that as my new version. It's a little bit nicer there. So yeah, that's how you can make a quick and easy dark vocal pad in Serum. Pretty straightforward thing to do, but can be really, really nice for setting an atmosphere, setting a bit of a vibe in the intro. So hope that was helpful for you guys. Much love. Leave a comment down below if they helped you out. Like the video as well. Share it with your friends, and hit the subscribe button if you're new. And check out the links in my video as well. I've got preset packs for Serum, Vital, Phase Plant and Current. I do one-on-one production lessons as well. You can email me for mixing and mastering work. And I have a Patreon as well with free downloads and a great Discord community with daily chats, feedback live streams and much more. So that's it for me today. More from me very soon. Much love.